It's hard to believe after the season you had that you're technically the underdog heading in. How will your team react to that?
I think that they will embrace it and love it. They'll appreciate the fact that Alabama's really good. So I think that our team has great respect for them. And when you watch what they did in the Florida game, and everyone thought Florida was probably the best team in the country from start to finish, it's just really caught our guys' attention. And I can see why we're an underdog, and I can appreciate that.
What's the challenge of playing as a favorite?
Well, I think that players really have to understand that they're being set up. You know, anytime that, you know, people make a decision that this team's better than that team and they haven't really played. So I really don't put any stock in it, and I don't want our players to put any stock in it. And I tell them that the media will always try to make a David, and they'll always try to make a Goliath, and that every time somebody tells you that you're favored in the game, just think to yourself, I'm being set up.
Who's under more pressure here, Texas or Alabama?
Both. When you're playing for the national championship, you can throw all that stuff out. 3.5 hours to be the best at what you do in a country. When we won the national championship in '05, President Bush called me at 6 in the morning, woke me up and said, it's hard to know who's the best father. It's hard to know who's the best president. It's hard to know who's the best CEO. You and your team are measured as the best football team this year in America, and that's really cool. And that's what both these teams are going to try to do again.
Which job do you think has more pressure? Head coach at Alabama or head coach at Texas?
Well, I'm sure that both have, you know, the same expectations. Mac has done a fantastic job in terms of the consistency that he's had there, and, you know, Texas is a great high school football state. They have a lot of good players, and they have a lot of great tradition, and we have all those same things in Alabama. So I would say that it would be hard to make a comparison one way or the other.
You think they get 92,000 at practice? Spring game?
I don't know. I never thought about it.
Is number one. Will it be Alabama rising up like in glory days of old behind a coach who came to the Crimson Tide to conquer and a runner who goes and goes and goes? Or led by a senior whose dream was to see this day? This game is ours. It's the game that ends with the claim, we are number. We welcome you to the 2010 City BCS National Championship in Pasadena. The number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, both unbeaten, face off for the most sought-after trophy in all of college sport. The Coach's Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper. Alabama's celebration continues here in the Rose Bowl. There is head coach Nick Saban walking around and saluting the fans. Many of the players jumped up into the arms of their parents. And Herbie, doesn't seem like just yesterday that it was going to be Alabama and Virginia Tech. And had all those questions about this team. Man, can this untested quarterback do it? Can Mark Ingram explode as a marquee back? And here we are bringing the curtain down.
Yeah.
They remained undefeated and won the championship.
Yeah, and when you win a championship, there are some things and some ingredients that you don't know about in August, and they develop over time throughout the course of a season, through the ups and through the downs. And this Alabama team is the last team standing because of that magic formula that Nick Saban, his staff, and his leadership of this team, they were able to create that. And it's going to be a year the Crimson Tide fans will remember for a long time. Well deserved.
Absolutely. They win their first national championship since 1992. Gene Stallings was the coach back in that era, but now the Crimson Tide is back.
One name at the top of the page, standing up at the front of the stage. They all dreamed of the bliss, but just one team will hear this.
A call from their crowd to their hearts. The Crimson Tide are number